There are moments when the entire savanna feels frozen as a pack plunges into battle with precision discipline and a suffocating ferocity. This isn't just a chase, it's a chaotic symphony of speed instinct and strategy. Brace yourself, because today you'll witness the craziest African wild dog fights ever caught on camera, where collective power pushes far beyond anything you could imagine. Let's dive in. Lion. A lone lioness is cornered by an entire pack of African wild dogs. They move in an arc, launching constant pressure attacks that force the apex hunter to spin defensively, unable to strike back effectively. Despite being much smaller, wild dogs hold the advantage of endurance. They are the most successful hunters in Africa, with a success rate of over 80% thanks to extremely tight teamwork. But the lioness keeps her composure, gradually suppressing the pack's momentum. Realizing they can't bring her down, the wild dogs retreat. But this clash is only the beginning, because not long after they cross paths again. As the lioness turns her back to leave, the pack tails her closely. They strike directly, circling wide, before darting in to snap at her flank. The lioness knows their weakness lies in their reliance on group morale, so she must injure one badly enough to shake the entire pack. African wild dogs rely on group hunting tactics to compensate for their weaker individual strength, a necessity for survival in such a competitive ecosystem. Eventually, they recognize the risk is too high and pull back, proving that sometimes individual power outweighs the strength of a pack. Wildebeest. A herd of wildebeest charges the wild dogs, thrusting their horns into the leaders and forcing them to fall back. The dogs scatter, attempting to circle from both sides to retaliate. Wildebeest rely on group defense tactics, using their curved horns to form a protective ring around the herd. They continue their assault, but are eventually pushed back, unable to hold their formation. In the end, they flee, proving that numbers alone can't always overturn a disadvantage, and the chase is only beginning, leading to even more intense pursuits across the plains. The wild dogs chase the herd across the desert, accelerating to close the gap. The wildebeest scatter, trying to maintain a tight formation. African wild dogs use endurance hunting, able to maintain high speeds far longer than most prey, wearing them down over time. The dogs gradually isolate several individuals, splitting into smaller units to attack more efficiently. But one isolated wildebeest is about to face an even greater danger. The pack surrounds the lone wildebeest, lunging from every angle to block any escape route. This time, their separation tactic succeeds. On the savanna, a wildebeest that gets isolated from the herd has an extremely low chance of surviving a wild dog encirclement. It must rely solely on its horns and speed its only weapons. The wildebeest fights back fiercely, but the pack refuses to relent. Eventually, the wild dogs bring it down, emphasizing the raw strength of collective persistence in nature. But if the opponent weren't a wildebeest, would they still dominate the battlefield? Hyena. As expected this time, their opponent is the savanna's master scavenger and cunning opportunist, the hyena. The wild dogs rush in, tearing aggressively and overwhelming them with sheer numbers. Hyenas are also effective pack hunters, but today only a few are wandering alone. With only 2 or 3 hyenas, far too few to challenge a true predator pack, victory becomes impossible. Outmatched and wary, they retreat, waiting for a chance to steal a kill later. Their rivalry erupts once again in the Masai Mara savanna. This time, a larger hyena group returns to steal a fresh kill from the dogs. African wild dogs never share their meals. They either fight or flee. They split up and chase down the hyenas. A smaller hyena is bitten repeatedly, forced to abandon the stolen meal. This time, the rightful owners reclaim their prize. After being threatened twice, the wild dogs switch tactics and attack isolated hyenas. African wild dogs excel in group endurance, shifting from defense to offense when they hold the numerical advantage. African hyenas have powerful bone-crushing jaws, but without their clan, their primary defense becomes growling to avoid direct conflict. The hyena snarls, hoping the dogs will back off, but the rising pressure pushes this predator rivalry into an endless cycle. And now, this clash will decide who truly dominates the vast savanna.
Pretty much left no evidence that a puku had ever existed.
Numbers grant confidence and tactical superiority to the wild dogs. How will 2 unlucky hyenas withstand a proactive pack? The dogs surge forward, closing the circle instantly. The hyenas fight back, but are isolated, unable to use their individual strength against overwhelming numbers. In the end, the hyenas suffer a crushing defeat, proving that in nature, numbers can be the strongest source of power. Warthog. In the savanna, wild dogs often target warthogs using terrain to dig harass and force them out of burrows.
It's not going to go down without a fight. I think it was something really...
The warthog counters with strong charges, but alone it cannot withstand coordinated pack tactics. When the dogs strike together, the outcome is decided within seconds. Wild dogs can run at nearly 50 km/h for many minutes straight, making them terrifying predators for any prey that can't escape quickly. Though they've secured the warthog, the hunt isn't over because ahead awaits a far more stubborn opponent. Baboons. After their victory over the warthog, the dogs grow bolder, closing in on a troop of baboons. But baboons are no simple prey. The dominant male has canines up to 5 centimeters long, sharper and stronger than those of a lioness, making him a living shield for the troop. One step forward from him is enough to halt the dogs entirely. This time, the wild dog's pack strategies fail to break through such solid defense. Unable to find an opening, the dogs retreat in frustration. But this failure only fuels their hunger, and the next encounter comes sooner than they expect. Buffalo. After an unsuccessful clash with the baboons, the wild dogs grow more desperate. Their next target is a lone Cape buffalo. A few buffalo from the herd stomp, lowering their heads in threat. But with too few numbers and similar risk, they abandon their companion. Their disadvantage in weight makes buffalo far slower than wild dogs, allowing the pack to wear it down inside the encirclement with no chance of escape. Completely isolated, the buffalo collapses quickly. Once again, brute strength alone cannot prevail over coordinated pack tactics. Buck. A male buck is spotted by the pack right at the water's edge. It lowers its horns, trying to maintain distance, but the dogs close in from all angles, tightening the circle. The spot where the buck stands makes danger lurk both from land and water. The buck's horns can deliver bone-breaking hits, so the dogs avoid frontal attacks, instead striking from multiple angles to destabilize it. A crocodile bursts upward, clamping onto its body. For the first time, the wild dogs lose their kill right before their eyes. A young buck follows fresh tracks in the mud, approaching the riverbank in search of its father. It doesn't realize wild dogs hunt in this very area. One dog closes in, grabbing the buck's hind leg, adding weight and draining its strength. A buck's ear contains the vestibular system for balance. A single strong tug from the dog can disorient it, making it lose footing in the water. And on that same riverbank, more confrontations await any unfortunate creature that wanders too close. Antelope. Still in that riverbed this time, it's an antelope struggling through the muddy water, but blocked by snarls surrounding it. African wild dogs have a success rate nearing 80% among the highest across the savanna. But today, that chance vanishes as hyenas arrive in greater numbers to reclaim the hunt. The antelope fights desperately, but the hyena's speed and steel-trap jaws quickly drain its strength. They drag it ashore, turning the kill into a chaotic feast under the dusty red sunset. After many losses, the hyenas finally taste victory once again. The images you've just seen reveal an undeniable truth. The power of the African wild dog does not lie in size or ferocity, but in strategy speed and the absolute cohesion of every member. Every split of the herd, every strike at a weak point, every relentless chase, all of it forms a hunting machine that is nearly perfect in the wild. If you found this video fascinating, make sure to leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to continue joining us on more breathtaking journeys into the wild. Thank you for watching. See you again on the next adventure.